You are listening to the audio portion of the QB Power Hour webinar series. The QB Power Hour is a free biweekly webinar series for accounting professionals presented by Michelle Long and Dan DeLong, who are very passionate about the industry, QuickBooks, and apps that integrate with QuickBooks. You can find out all the details about the webinar series at qbpowerhour.com. So without further ado, here's Michelle and Dan. Welcome to another QB Power Hour. Today we're going to be talking about getting your clients to respond the first time. I mean, today is after a big tax deadline, and getting clients to respond to that, when you're on a deadline is very, very, very important. So we're going to be talking about how you can do that inside of QuickBooks, and we also have Chris and Alison joining us here from Liscio with a solution to be able to do just that. Now, normally Michelle Long with Long for Success is our co-host, but she has a family emergency, so we wish her well. She's taking care of her mom, and so she'll be back next time. Of course, join us on the Facebook group and the LinkedIn group. The links are in there. My name is Dan DeLong. I'm owner of DanWith, and the co-host today, formerly of Intuit. I worked with Alison at Intuit.
We did, yeah.
This is
many years.
Right.
Yeah.
Technical editor for QBO for Dummies. Now on the 7th edition. I got to update the slide there. And partner and chief content creator at Schoolofbookkeeping.com. So Alison and Chris, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. First of all, Dan, love the shirt.
Yeah. Thank you.
Looks great on you. Looks great. Yeah. So anyway, I'm wearing the same thing.
Will work for shirts. Yes.
There you go. My name is Chris. I'm one of the founders here at Liscio. I'm a CPA, spent 15 or so years in finance and accounting, and the last 10 plus in technology. So the idea was moving to tech, that it's always nice if practitioners are building solutions. And we wanted to bring, I guess, some of the insights and learnings we've had along the way to the accounting profession. And really our mission here is, I think, as you all kind of probably know to a certain extent, is there's so much effort going into the back office, and all the solutions we're using for ourselves. But there's very little that we're bringing technology-wise to clients that clients can really love and enjoy and that kind of thing. So we wanted to really work on that problem. And we've been doing that for the last several years. And I'm very happy to join you here, Dan, today, and with Alison.
Alison, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I think many of you would associate with me with my influencer work that I did at Intuit for 15 plus years, almost 16 years. But I joined Liscio in order to help really launch. And what excited me was, first of all, Chris's mission of helping firms create this great client experience for their clients. But it's a new category of app. There really isn't anything out there. And so I'm really excited about helping accountants and bookkeepers become a seamless part of their client's day rather than a sort of an extra to do, and just being able to help them tighten the relationship. And then if those of you who follow me on Instagram, you would be like, what is the deal? It's all about a backyard garden. So in my spare time, I like to grow vegetables in my backyard with varying success. So.
All right. Well, a little bit about the upcoming QB Power Hour webinars. It's every other Tuesday at 12 Eastern time, whatever time that is for you. But we have, of course, today talking about getting clients to respond the first time. And we're going to be kicking off a deep dive with QBO Advanced. Matt Fulton is going to be joining us next time for the custom fields. Matt is, if you know anything about Matt Fulton, he's all about the custom fields. So we're going to be really, it's almost going to be a workshop. So there's going to be some takeaways for you to be able to use for your firm, because QBO Advanced features are coming to your books. And if you haven't had them already, and some things that you could use for your clients. And then we're going to have Rewind come on, and we're going to talk about backing up QuickBooks and online as well. And Niche Nuances, we'll be having Megan Tarnow joining us to talk about nonprofits. Of course, there are the links for the slides and prior recordings and also the podcast. If you have any questions, since I'm running solo, literally running solo, and Michelle's not here to bounce off and manage the chats and the Q&A. If you have specific questions about things that we're talking about here today, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. We do have Lindsay from Liscio managing some of the Liscio based questions. But if you have a specific question, go ahead and put that in the Q&A portion rather than the chat, because the chat just seems to kind of roll past. So our agenda today, we're going to be talking about communicating clients today. How do we do that inside of QuickBooks? And we'll talk a little bit about making requests and managing your work inside of QuickBooks Online Accountant. And then we'll kind of hand it over to Liscio and talk about what actually Liscio is. And Chris will do a demonstration, because again, we're right after a big tax deadline with business filings needed to be done yesterday. Literally, they had to they were due yesterday. So oftentimes it'll come up with that sort of thing where you need to have clients engage with your clients, because there is a deadline looming. The government kind of likes those deadlines and and bases taxes and penalties and interest off of those deadlines. So it makes a little sense to manage your clients' responses in a timely fashion. So let's start off with a poll. What has been your biggest frustration with getting your clients to respond to your request? Maybe they're unresponsive, or they don't get you the information what you need, or they respond in various methods, like they text you their information as opposed to getting you the actual form that you need, or maybe they respond on their schedule, which is maybe after your working hours, after you're done for the day. Chris Chris just fell. Where'd he go? You're on mute. So you were a CPA doing this stuff, right?
Yeah. I spent my first job was at Arthur Andersen, and so collecting everything, the prepared by client lists and all that was a big deal. And we had to do a lot of it, as you can imagine, by hook and by crook, and I think even since way back then, it's gotten much more complex, hasn't it? Before we used to use the phone and a fax and that kind of thing, but now there's email and text and phone and fax and e-sign and file share, portals, right? There's just so many venues now. I did fall off the screen just because I was going for paper, because I wanted to write down these percentages. Because I think what's happening is, people are unresponsive, and then obviously they're responding in various ways when they can, and it's become probably a bigger snowballing mess year on year that we've probably gotten a little bit used to, right? We add more and more apps to the stack, right? How many times you hear a new app comes out, I'll add that. Now you have another venue, right? So there's been a pro and a con in so many ways with the addition of technology.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share the results here. So it looks like the most common answer was unresponsive. Because and that we'll have a follow-up poll about that, of like maybe why we can understand why they're responsive. But Taj actually said all of the above. It certainly could be the case. And that became like when I worked at Intuit, and accountants would call in, and the answer was, well, you have to ask your client to send your re-invitation to your QuickBooks, or get the bank statement from the client. It was that silence that was on the other end, like, oh no, I have to contact my client. And it was like we were asking for firstborn children when we were asking for that. But you do need to talk to your clients and work with them.
None of us got into accounting, right? None of us joined the profession in order to chase clients down. Right. We just wanted to sit down at our desks, do the work, not pick it up, say I don't have everything, put it down, and then right. Hope or call or whatever it is.
Speak to people, not like the guy from Office Space, where he's like, he has people skills, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what you can do in QBOA today, right? So this is a newer functionality, probably in the last couple of years, where you can actually create client requests inside of QBOA. The nice part of of working in QuickBooks Online clients is that when you do this inside of QBOA and create a client request, it alerts the client, and they can send them an email, and you can collaborate right within QuickBooks Online. So you're creating the request. You can choose. Whoops, went too far. You can create the request name. You choose the client. You can assign a due date to it, and then that flows into the work section of QuickBooks Online Accountant. And then you can, ask them for documents. So I was just thinking about this today. I have to do some, Shopify reconciliation. So I need the client to upload a CSV of his Shopify account, so I can do, make sure that all the sales came in appropriately. So this way, it'll just allow him to put it. Attach it right into QBOA and share the documents, so he doesn't necessarily have to email that to me, or however he's going to get it to me. And then projects and work will allow you to create your own workflows and assign them to other people. So if you have other teammates that are part of your firm, you can specify that and put see that in this kind of fashion. So there's in the upper right there, you can see that there's different ways to actually view these. So if you want to see it on a calendar or just a list, and then you have the drop downs at the top to see who's working on what. So it helps you manage your firm a little bit. And then you can create these as custom to-dos and assign and delegate them to a teammate. So it's always a good example of leadership, of how well you can delegate to someone else. And then, of course, manage that they're actually doing the work. That you can create some new templates, manage your own workflows. You can add your own custom tasks right within QuickBooks Online. Now, as far as desktop, about the only thing you can do inside a desktop is comment on a report. You can, as far as this kind of collaboration inside the file, you can comment on reports, which you can do in QuickBooks Online. You can have notes on the specific reports. It shows up at the bottom. But in desktop, when you choose the option to comment on a report, it will allow you to save. You can do it on a line-by-line basis. And then there'll be a section inside of reports called commented reports, where you can bring that up, and then you can review the comments kind of going back and forth. All right, whoops. Slides went a little haywire. All right, so one more poll question here. What percentage of your clients use a client portal? So security has actually been a really big issue these days about sending things back and forth. So bank statements and other personally identifiable information, oftentimes you have to manage that with a client portal. So what would you say would be your percentage of clients that use a client portal? We've just kind of broken that into 25% increments. That's now something that you have to consider as an accounting firm, or especially if you're doing taxes, getting that information back and forth between yourself and your client securely and easily is a big concern. Do we have any questions that came up? I didn't see anything in there other than Taj saying all of the above.
This is really interesting data. We're still polling. It's not shown yet.
Yeah, you don't want to skew. Don't want to skew the answer.
That's right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and looks like most of the folks have answered. So we'll go ahead and share the results. So the biggest response was what portal? So maybe they don't even, maybe that's not in the scope of work, or didn't realize that might be a concern. So let's go ahead and kind of hand the ball over to Chris and Alison over at Liscio, and we'll talk about, do you have the slides up, Chris? Do you want to drive the slides, or do you want me to drive them for you?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and drive? I think you've got them in the same deck, don't you, Dan?
I do.
Okay, yeah, you just go ahead and drive, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing that, when you were thinking about a new solution or looking at something we've never seen before, what is Liscio? What would you say Liscio is, and where did the name come from? Because that's typically where.
So let Chris talk about the vision real quick, and then I'm going to go into a few slides to sort of frame, what it is.
Sure. So Liscio, the origin of that is it's Italian. If you go order even a coffee in Italy, they'll say, "How do you want it?" You say Liscio, right? And it means smooth and delightful, right? And so that was the feeling we were going for, because a lot of solutions out there are really quite good, quite powerful, quite heavy, right? There's a lot going on. And so the idea was, in order to cut through all the noise and just get to the signal, we have to offer something to our clients that is smooth and delightful, right? It's a different way of thinking. And so, as Alison was mentioning earlier, we wanted to create a category, really. We wanted to fill what we viewed as a major gap. And so we started, with this idea that in terms of a name, we start with an empty vessel, something we get to build around that doesn't have a lot of preconceptions, doesn't have a lot of weight to it, something we can really start to establish on our own. And so I think the name is curious, something nobody's heard before. It's something, the product we think is something nobody's seen before. And with that in mind, I'd love to turn it over to Alison to share her side of the story.
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. So as this builds, I just want everybody can read, so you can just kind of, read all the different things. But if you're finding that you're nodding on any of these things, and the poll about, what's your biggest pain point with clients getting you to send documents. If you think about what you're going to be doing with your clients, it falls in just a couple of buckets of things. And the rest is back office. I'm kind of pointing towards my back office. And you can choose. The cool thing is you can choose to use QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, any of the other accounting solutions out there. We actually are the bridge between you and your back office, your client, you and your back office. So if you read some of these things, on the left-hand side is what you may hear from your clients. And on the right-hand side are things that you might say to a client or to your staff as you're looking for a document or an answer of some kind. And these are all symptoms that the experience that you're offering your clients in working with your firm is not working for them. Now, I want to pause for a minute because everybody goes, wait, what? I really pay attention to my clients. I really love my clients. I really care about my clients. We know that. That is not what we're saying. What we're saying is there is friction in the tools. So, Lindsay and I were like, well, if you're not getting clients, if clients aren't sending you documents when you ask for them, don't blame them, blame your systems. And so what we want to talk about today is a different system for using for requesting documents from clients, for asking them questions, answering their questions, sending them documents, getting them to e-sign, getting those knowledge-based authentications that you need, and tracking all of that work that the clients owe you and that you owe them. So if there's anybody who has not heard these things, raise your hands. And if you haven't said this on the right-hand side, the only people that would not say these things on the right-hand side would be the people who are the only person, in their firm, like they're a sole proprietor in their firm. But everybody else, and even then, where is that document? Is it an email? Did the client text it? Where is it? I think everybody is, and everybody gets stuck until you get that specific client document. So let's go ahead and move to the next slide. If you want your clients to respond the very first time you ask them, the actual experience really, really matters. So let's go ahead and keep going, Dan. And this is where I want to break down what the difference between front office and back office is. And for some of you, it's just really seamless. It just feels like I'm just doing work with my clients. I'm talking to my clients. I'm working for them. It's all one. We actually think of it slightly differently. So if you break down the actual interactions that you are having with your clients, in other words, your client is on one side of it and you're on the other, you're either asking them a question or you're answering one of theirs. So some form of ask and answer. You're either sending them a document or they're sending you one that you need. So send and receive. You might have them e-signing, for example, your engagement letter or a proposal or a tax return or an ACH authorization, those types of things. And then everything else is probably going to be some form of advisory. And you'll be talking to them for that. You'll be having a Zoom meeting, or you'll be on the phone with them, or you might meet them face to face if you're lucky enough to be in an area that, you can do that. And then the back office is where you actually do the calculations, you create the tax returns, you process all the things, and you close out the month and QuickBooks, all of that kind of stuff. So let's move forward, Dan. Just wanted to clarify, and we got a poll.
Yep. So let's now throw this in here. What percentage of your clients work in an office?
I think what we mean by that is, like, are they physically in their office all day?
Right. Like if your client is in construction, are they actually doing? So
they would not be in an office
doing the work,
yeah.
Or do they work behind a desk? Right.
Yeah.
And the person that you're asking this request to, where are they physically located? Are they by a computer at your beck and call, or are they out doing what they're doing? They're doing what they went into business for. What have you guys found, as far as the engagements that you have?
Oh, yeah. I think there's so many people now, like the rise of the gig economy, right? The rise of work from home or work from anywhere, probably a better way to put it.
Work from anywhere.
And the fact that I think a lot of our clients, the small businesses run America, right? And so if you're serving a small business, a bakery, a restaurant, a lot of those other kinds of businesses out there that really aren't cubicles, right? They're not designed for administrative work first, right? Administrative work's kind of last. I think we see more than half out there, kind of doing that, which is really interesting, because I think once we have all these data points from these polls, a really interesting picture is emerging. Is it a good time now to show this poll here, Dan? Want to do a countdown or anything?
Yeah, I think we're ready to share the results. Yeah, 0 to 25%. It definitely falls in line with what you were just saying there. Is that they're out there doing the work. They're not sitting behind a desk just waiting for you to ask for their bank statements or their signature.
Yeah. Barbara's got a funny comment here. A client with a cell phone thinks they're in an office these days. Barbara, you've queued me up for my next. You've totally queued me up. Yeah. So when we think about what your typical day for your clients looks like, some of you did have clients that are in the office. And so that's great. They are in the office. They see your email come in. They actually probably have a scanner. And really all you're competing with when you're emailing that client is you're competing with all the junk and the noise in the email inbox. You're also competing with their clients emailing you, right? So, but the good news is they have a scanner. Now, everybody else, Barbara, I don't know if you can see me holding up my cell phone. Everybody else is walking around doing their busy day, serving their clients with their phone in their hand. So let's go ahead and move forward to the next slide. So this is actually a client of a Liscio firm, and this is a bakery. And these are the bakers, and they are baking. They're serving their clients. They're not near their computer. And so one of the things when we were looking at why don't clients respond to your email? So if you do the 5 whys exercise, basically it's because you're actually asking them to do something that they can't deal with naturally during their day. So if you go to the next slide, Dan. Oops, let's go back one. There we go. So what we've branded Client Experience 2.0 means that you actually are a seamless and welcome part of their day instead of an additional extra thing that they have to do. So if we go to the next slide. So imagine that you can just walk around. Imagine that your client could just walk around with you, literally you, in their pocket on their phone. And there's some examples just so that you can kind of understand what we're talking about when we say Client Experience 2.0. Here's some examples that are out there in the market right now that clients are experiencing, and you actually also are experiencing. So your banking app, here on the left, we've got the B of A app. Would you even dream of going to the bank to deposit checks now? You just wouldn't, right? I mean, now you might go into the bank if you really needed to talk to a banker. So you still can go in there, and you probably would go in no, you don't even have to go in to open an account. Actually, I was going to say you probably would go in. No, you wouldn't. But anyway, so you instead you walk around with the banking app on your phone in your pocket, and you can just seamlessly do what you need to do. And there's no competition in that app. When you go into that app, you know what you're going to do. You're going to find out what your balance is, or you're going to transfer some money, or you're going to deposit a check. Same thing with the New York Times there in the middle. If you want, you can still get your newspaper delivered to your porch, no problem. But most people love to walk around with the New York Times in their pocket, and you can search but again, no competition. And then Chris came up with this third one, which I think is just brilliant. Home Depot. You can actually text the Home Depot into their app, and someone will answer you, and they will let you know if they have that bucket of nails or whatever. But again, the idea is no competition. So let's go to the next slide. And basically, what we want to leave you with before Chris gives you a demo is, I want you to have an idea in your head that instead of your email with a request for a document or a list of documents, instead of the client getting an email and then realizing that they cannot deal with it with the equipment on hand because they're walking around, they're doing their job, they're serving their clients, and then your email falling lower and lower and lower into their inbox until it pretty much disappears. And then you send another email, maybe the same thing happens. And then you maybe phone them, or you text them, or you send them another one, and then they send you a photo of a document. Now, the reason they've sent you a photo of the document is that they're really trying to respond, but that was the only thing they had in hand. So what if instead you gave them a kind of an accountant app, if you will, and they can basically communicate with you through that? There's no noise. They're going to see it on their phone, and they're going to just be able to respond immediately because there's a built-in scanner, and everything's trackable. And then the other thing I didn't mention is all of the staff, if you have more than one person in your firm, all of the staff can see the documents that this client sent because it's all in a central place and all stored. So this is the overarching thing that you're going to see. And now Chris is going to bring it to life with a demo.
And Alison, you have a great introduction to Liscio from your perspective when it came to joining the team, right?
Oh yeah.
And it speaks to Deborah's question, who's asking, can you talk about security for uploaded docs?
Yeah. So those of you that know me well, you know that I'm not a U.S. citizen. I was born in the UK, and I'm also a Canadian citizen, and so I'm here on a green card. I'm here legally. It's don't anybody worry. And
don't turn her in.
Well, you can. It wouldn't do anything. Yeah, I just produce my green card and carry on my business. But I had to send it to Chris, and so here we were. We were in the middle of the pandemic, and I couldn't we weren't doing everything, we were doing it face to face over Zoom, but I needed to send my green card. And I was like, well, okay, what do I do? And he said,
Scanner, fax.
He said, and then, so I downloaded Liscio. It took, I don't know, 30 seconds and from the App Store. And I logged in and I was the client. Chris was the firm and I was the client. And it was so easy. I literally just front and then turn it over, back, and then sent it. And that was literally when the angels sang. I was like, that is amazing, because I could immediately see if I was an accountant, which I was before I came to Intuit and then came to Liscio. I immediately saw how different it would have been, how different my life would have been if I could have given clients, this easy scanner in a box kind of thing where they could just easily go about their day, snap and go. So that was, yes, thank you for reminding me of that delightful moment.
And then, of course, Chris can tell us how secure that actually was, right?
Yeah. The whole idea is the same thing as when you work with your online bank. And imagine all the stuff that's going back and forth. In fact, when we sat down with a clean sheet of paper and started looking at the problem, we all had this problem, not only in the business, we had it as individuals, which is so much of our information is floating around in email, it's floating around on text messages, it's floating around in chat apps. And what do we know about email, for example? Well, we know Gramm-Leach-Bliley, that act came out and it says, and the IRS even says, no personal sensitive information should be transmitted over email unless it has been encrypted. Right? Email is not naturally encrypted. So some people have gone out there and bought encryption apps, right? But they're really, really hard to use. Private key encryption and getting a client to open an encrypted email is a challenge enough. But even in that best case scenario, how often does the client encrypt it before they send it to you? So it ends up becoming this kind of a one-way deal. Whereas if you look at what's happening with banks, banks have been targets, massive cyber targets for, since probably the advent of really online banking at all. And they used to use email, right? But they stopped entirely, right? You don't do your banking over email. If they want you to send something, a lot of times they'll fax it to you, right? Or you'll use the portal. But they've moved everything from check deposits to statements to all that kind of thing. They moved everything into really their bespoke electronic interface with you, whether it's on the web or on a mobile phone. And so that level of encryption is exactly what we use. It's AES 256. It's everything is private. So email's open to everybody. Anybody from, you pick the country, can go ahead and send you an email pretending to be somebody. And email is not built to stop it, right? Which is why all this stuff gets through. But when you're working in your banking app, you're not worried about that bidirectional communication being compromised, right? It's, as long as you have reasonable protection of the passwords and so forth, you're good. So that was the thought process, and that's what we do. It's private, not public. The channel that you're operating with your clients.
What I really like about your strategy is it adopts the same kind of methodology or philosophy of a bank, right? So like, even if it's sent, an alert or a notification or email is sent as to say, hey, you need to do something, you have to get into the app or get into Liscio in order to do those things. So it's not like click a link, provide us your login like a phishing email would do. It's log into the app or log into to the web portal.
Yeah, it's all about patterns, right? We as humans are really good at patterns. We follow the same habits and patterns all the time. In fact, banks have put us in a really, really healthy habit. They give us a great healthy habit, which is they give us such a great app and such a great online experience. That's just what we do. We don't even think about going to email first. We think about going to the bank's app first, right? And so I'm hopeful what we'll see today, and I have the screen up here. I'll be showing you a product. But what we hope to show you is that what we've been building is all about following existing patterns and existing habits. And if we can do that, and the client recognizes the pattern, they recognize and they can form a good habit around it, then you've won. You've won big time, right? And so that's how you lower the bar. You lower the bar not by giving them something totally new to think about and have to manage. You give them something that fits seamlessly into how they already think and how they already work. Right. And that's what we do. So if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of give you a brief tour here of Liscio.
Yeah, take it away.
Cool. So this is Liscio from the firm side. You'll see I'm down here in the bottom left here. You see my name. So this is what you'd look like or look at, inside the firm. You got a home page, and the pattern is really simple here. The pattern is you've got an inbox. Now, this is not an inbox full of everything. This is an inbox just for your clients and you. So you're not competing, right? Your team will show up or you'll show up. There's not a lot of Nike ads and a whole bunch of news and all sorts of stuff here. It's just, what you need to focus on to take care of your clients. And as Alison was mentioning earlier, a lot of things that need to get done sometimes will languish in the inbox, right, on your side or on the client side. And if they roll off the page, nothing happens. So we recognize that. And what we want to do is if something needs to get done, we create a task for it. So right underneath your inbox, which is just back and forth communication, you have a task list. So these are things I need to be working on, my tasks. So there's a task name, it was assigned to Thomas for his Shelby company, and I'm the owner. So this means a client responded to one of our requests, and it's my turn to review it. Okay. So I have things I need to be working on. I have tasks I've assigned out that I'm waiting on. So you can always see those there. But the idea is this is kind of your home base, and theoretically we can be at inbox 0 and my task 0 most of the time. So that's the basics. And Alison mentioned earlier, we're doing really kind of three things, right? And the first of those was ask and answer, right? So can we fit in our clients' lives as we're asking and they're answering us? So I'll show you kind of quickly how you would send a message within that context. So I'm going to ask just via message here. Click on that. I'm going to send something to Christine Client and select an account. I'll do City Lights Bookstore. Now, Alison mentioned also earlier that everybody on the team who needs to see something can see it. But instead of having these massive pools of information, what we do is we allow you to create accounts. So underneath Christine, we do some cleanup work for her. We also do her personal taxes, and we do her client accounting services. So I'm just going to pick the client accounting services part here. So now it's Christine Client City Lights Bookstore. It's going to make it easier to find later. Subject can be, did you sign the form? And description can be, let me know, okay? But you can attach images, you can attach files. We have a notify via text feature. I'll show you that in a bit. But it's really quite simple. It looks and feels a lot like email, but it's just much more organized. I'll hit send. So what'll happen now is I tuck that page away. I'll show you my phone. At least I hope to show you my phone. I had it up earlier. One sec. I'll need to fire up my phone sync here again. But what'll happen is when I punch this code in, it's going to go ahead and show you my phone in real time. There it is. Okay. And what you'll see is, did you sign the form? Let me know. Goes right to her phone. Okay. She taps on it. We think we need to make it really, really easy for clients to use it, right? So what do? When we pick up our phones right now, we use Thumb ID or Face ID, right? So we offer 4 ways of logging in. So biometric, which I'm going to do here. We also offer Google login. We log in with Microsoft, and you can always use a conventional username and password. But I'll use bio. So tap, little Face ID. Hello, Christine. Am I not her anymore? Okay. Let me go and back up. I'll log in with Google. I guess I got.
Chris has a lot of identities on his phone.
That's hilarious.
He's a client. He's him.
Yeah. You know what I did though earlier is I changed all my passwords, but it's okay. But the good part about that is I got to show you how there's 4 ways.
There's other ways to get in, and that's what I learned during my interaction with Liscio, because I'm on both sides of the Liscio equation of being a client and a firm. Yeah. how do you manage those two different logins? Well, you just use your Google login.
Yeah, the key thing here, Dan, is that if so you just watched Chris actually try a couple of different ways to log in, but he just did it himself. The key thing here is that if somebody was using a portal and they couldn't get in, what do? They call you.
Yeah.
And so you have to do the tech support for it. So this is going to eliminate all of that. And Chris is probably going to mention this a little bit later on. I might be stealing his thunder, but we actually also provide the tech support for your clients. So if they do have trouble, they can call us directly.
Yeah. The last thing you all need to do is be tech support for 10 different solutions. I've been there. We've all been there, I think. And our firm belief is that if we do the support, we get a fingertip feel for what's happening with our product and when it's actually interacting with clients. And that allows us to get better. You can't get better if you don't do great support. Not possible. So that's it. So we're in. So when we're in, the first thing you're gonna notice is it's really quiet here. Not like
a lot
email.
of white. There's a lot of white.
Yeah, a lot of white. And there's not a lot of action, because I don't know about you all, but when I log an email, if I have even 10, 15 emails. So Dan, if you send me something, say, hey, can you check this out? If I go in there and I see something else that catches my attention, and you're not on the phone with me, what do? I get distracted, right?
Hey.
I start doing other stuff.
Squirrel.
Total squirrel. And your clients are busy. So when you have them here, you have them. That's the key. They're not running off doing something else. So you can pop in here and again, the same pattern, right? I'm going to tap on the inbox item. Did you sign the form? Well, she's pretty good texting. Yep. And send, right? So that's a really, really simple interaction. In fact, comma, I'll send it to you now, period. Right. So it's really, really easy for them to respond to you. You've lowered the hurdle so much. And this is all secure, right? So now that we have a healthful habit, easy habit, good habit. So if you want to get sent to you, I'm going to show you what Alison went to when she sent me her employment verification forms. Just hit add attachments here. And we can scan it with the phone. You can attach it from a photo library. You can import it from anywhere on the phone. And we can also attach it from Liscio Vault, which is our storage. So your client gets infinite storage with you and your firm too, okay? But let's scan it. And it's a little bit of a magic trick. It's not magic really, but I'm gonna hit scan document and hold my phone up with one hand here. And with one hand, it's just gonna kind of figure it out. So how easy is that? I don't even need to use two hands. Now, usually this is gonna be not so great for you if a client is lazy. And I imagine many of you have pictures of knees, elbows, all sorts of stuff that you got to go ahead and kind of iron out, right? So we call that arts and crafts. But with us, you hit next, we figure out where the edges are, we make it look really good, okay? And then when you get it, I'm just going ahead, she can do 10 pages like that, and it'll come to you all as one single PDF. So we're going to convert those image files into PDF. That's going to be helpful for many reasons, as you know, but if you ever had struggled with that, oops, I'm not going to do another one. Here I'm better with voice than I am with thumbs. That's it. So she sent it to you. And if I come back over here, and actually let's go refresh my screen here. It'll show up here to sign the form. Yep. And my attachment is going to be as a PDF right here. Okay. So that's it. It's that easy. So that's kind of this ask and answer. Super simple.
And she could also do this on her computer as well. I just want to mention that there, for the firm, there's an app and the desktop, and the browser version. And for the client, there's also. So just exactly like your online banking, if you think about it, you've got the app on your phone, but you can also log in on the browser. So if any of you are wondering, well, what if my files were on my computer and I was the client and I needed to send it to Chris? No problem. You would just do it from the computer app.
Let's do that. Let's do that next. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think
Here goes the thunder.
No, it's all good. Teeing me up. The next thing was we want to go ahead and send and receive as well, right? So maybe we want to send something larger, a big file, right? And if you're doing cleanup work or If you're using QBD, for example, right, you might have a specific file solution you're using just to send files that are too big for email. So let's
I
go ahead
bet
and talk
everybody
about this.
does. I bet everybody does, right? I mean, that's
I just
essentially
used
what
it to,
Dropbox is, right?
yeah, I just used it and the guy sent a 1.7 gigabyte file.
1.7 gigs.
You use Liscio?
And we use Liscio to do that.
It's 5 gigs is the limit. So
that's
5.1, we'd say no, sorry,
yeah,
too big.
that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, really big.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's show it. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna pick up. We did City Lights Bookstore last time. I'm gonna do City Lights Cleanup. Okay, so we're just doing cleanup work here. We'll compartmentalize it that way. And this is as a firm. So please send the QBD file. We will get started ASAP. And you can give her a due date for it. So maybe I need it tomorrow. And I can attach things again and so forth. You can have recurring tasks here if you'd like. And we will send automatic reminders to them as well. So if you give them a due date, if it's due that week, we'll remind them the week that it's due. Okay. And then if it's overdue, we'll keep on reminding them. That'll just take something else off your plate. We'll do the hounding. Okay. That's a nice feature. And then I'll hit create task. Now, you probably just heard my phone beep. So I got a notification there. We also send an email reminder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. We're going to leave the firm side and I'm going to show you the client side. So this is the client in the browser. Okay. So what you'll see here is there's Christine and she has a task now. We just gave her this. Actually, refresh here. We just gave her this task. Please send the QBD file. Okay, less than a minute ago. If we tap on it, what'll happen is she can ask us a question. QBM, okay. Add comment. And anything that any conversation we have around this work item is going to go in an audit trail. So if the client ever says, hey, you never asked me, we say, no, we asked you 1 minute ago, right? And they can see it and you can see it. So it's going to take away a lot of the guessing game of did we ask, did we remind, have they responded, all that. It's all going to be stacked here in this audit trail.
And then as far as, just real quick, as far as who can see that on the firm side, can they see the client interaction? So you're not
Absolutely.
having to CC each other through emails and those types of things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that, Dan. Yeah. What will happen is on your side, you can look at it by account or by person, however you want to look at it. If I look at it by account, for example, and I'll just go to that City Lights Cleanup, what I can do is I can go to the tasks. So we can see all the tasks here and we'll see that we have one open task waiting for the client on. There's nothing in review. When the client finishes something, we get a chance to review it. After we've reviewed it and accepted it, we move to the archive. So anybody on your team who has access to this account can go ahead and open up this task and they can see the history. We asked for it 2 minutes ago. The client responded 1 minute ago. Okay. And we can say, yes, that will be fine. And so there's no CCing. People are CCing and BCCing like crazy because they want people to have the information just in case, right? Nothing for them to do, but just in case you need it later, I'm going to jam your inbox. I'm going to stuff your inbox, right? But now you're going to have it at your fingertips. So we just sent that back and I'll go back to the client. And if she wants to go ahead and get us that file, task detail updated, let's show. Yes, that'll be fine. That comes in. And she wants to do that. She can just go ahead and drag and drop a file. So I've got a QBM file here. And as Alison was mentioning, 5 gigs per file. Okay, so plenty of room. So I'll just drag that over.
Chris, while you were doing that, we just had a funny little chat with Sheila. And she said, well, most QuickBooks files are bigger than 5 gigs. Is there an exception? And I was like, are they? I was thinking, and then she said, no, 5 megabytes. Sorry.
Yeah. 5 gigs pretty sizable. We haven't had anybody hit it.
I was going to ask her what kind of client she had. I was like, oh my goodness.
I think the QBD's file blow up. You have to do all the QBD file reconstruction stuff.
Dan would know. What is the limit for a QBD file? It's
I mean,
not 5 gigs, is it?
Yeah, it's not there is no physical size limit. Practical size limit.
Yeah, I don't think it would run. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but it just seems very big. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I mean, the 1.7 that I just had to deal with, that was probably one of the largest ones that I've seen. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
a
I guess it's a
couple
little.
gigs for,
There you go.
but they
What
have
came in?
other problems more than the file size when they're dealing with that file size. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So we just did it. So we just put a QBD file through this, and she marks it as complete. And when that happens, it's just going to move it to our task list. So super easy. But that's the web version. And I think what you're seeing here is it's worth probably noting is that whether they're on the web or on their phone, it's a very, very similar experience, right? So this is the web version, inbox one, my task one. Go back to the phone here, inbox one, my task one. They have a pane over here, the navigation, same thing on their phone. Okay. So really quite simple, right? And they can carry around all this power with them no matter where they are. So for those of you who some of your clients think the phone is their office, there you go, right? Super simple. So that's send and receive something big. I wanted to show you next, if we can, how you can get things to them even faster. So now that we've kind of got this really nice communication pattern going, we really want to save you all time. And what I'd like to show you is something we call Liscio Dispatch, which is how you can ship something to your clients incredibly fast. And we're going to make it even faster. Okay. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and tuck that away. And I'm going to bring up the firm side again. And here is the firm. Okay. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to send, I've logged into QuickBooks here, and I'd like to send a report from QuickBooks directly to a client. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is we have this feature which allows you to print. If you can print to PDF or if you can save to PDF, you can send something directly to your client without having to download it, compose an email, add a subject line, add a description, and so forth, upload the file to it and send, right? Or worse, if it's a large file,
portal,
portal,
or
use a portal,
and the
right?
links,
And then then you're sending links, and you're having to go compose a message separately. A lot of extra work, right? So what I like to do here is I like to print, and I'll do a print as a PDF, and I'll save just this first page, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and click on Save here. What will happen is Liscio Dispatch will reside in your left-hand favorites menu. We'll automatically install it there for you. I'm going to call this balance sheet 03-2021, and let's hit save. What will happen now is whenever you send a file to that destination, we'll bring up Liscio Dispatch. And so the idea here is really simple. You're using a lot of different software, but you want to have one way of delivering everything to your client instead of giving 10 different ways of delivering. So we just shot that balance sheet over here. We automatically tagged it as financials. We use machine learning for this. We automatically tag the year and the month. And I can put a message here, which is going to be, please review. We are happy to discuss anytime. So, and I'll send this to Christine. There she is again. And I'll do this for City Lights Bookstore. Okay. And upload. Okay. So that's how quickly you can deliver information to your clients. Right.
And I want to pause just for a second, guys, and make sure this really sunk in, because what Chris did there was he did not leave QBO. So he sent the report securely through to the client using bank level security. The client will get it versus getting it as an email with a link that they have to log in and download. You saved a ton of steps on your side because he literally did it in one seamless motion, and then he can go back to his work. And this works with QuickBooks Desktop. This works with QuickBooks Online. This works with your tax programs, your proposals, anything you're using that can print to PDF.
Yeah,
so
that's a huge thing. I mean,
it's a huge time saver.
It's one thing that I like about, apps that integrate or work with, will they work with the various, parts of the ecosystem, whether it's whatever it is that you're playing with, right? as long as that's the caveat, as long as it can.
So we work with everything. Essentially, I'm not aware that there's anything that can't print a PDF.
Right.
Right. So we work with everything. Yeah. And then Chris, maybe I'm just wondering, we've got like 5 minutes left. Could you show maybe we've gotten some questions about e-docs and e-signatures, and maybe you can answer this as you go. We have one question from Miriam. Can you have both the husband and wife sign off on your engagement letter? So two signatures on it. Yeah. So maybe if we show if we just show how easy it is to do an e-doc.
Plus eDoc, same pattern. Okay, so we're going to send this to Christine, and we're going to send this also to Bobby Books. Okay, so 2 people on it. Agreement title. I could do.
Like maybe it's an engagement letter. We have a template for that, or.
I'm not sure if I have 2 signatures on it though, but do test. We have a template here. So if you have 2 signatures on your template. And I might have an 8879. I'll try that. Preview.
And this is all built in, like e-signature is all built in. You don't have to use anything extra. And then knowledge-based authentication as well there.
Okay, that's a form field there. So I'm a little worried about that. I'll just do an ACH auth. So we'll go ahead and send that. Oops, I gotta get rid of the 879. Sorry. There we go. So I'm just going to send that form. And what will happen is we're going to do prepare first. And when you prepare it, if you ever used Adobe Sign, it's what we've embedded. So you can have your firm logo here. All these fields are movable, resizable, etc. And if you want to have multiple signatures, I can have one signature for, okay, I've got 2 signers here. So I'll do signature 1 here, and I'll do signature 2 there. Okay. So it knows because you put 2 people in the to be signed line, these are the emails I'm actually each of those are registered to. I get 2 signature fields. That's it. So it's super, super easy. And so instead of having to buy an entirely different electronic signature solution that you have to log into and check and so forth, it's all embedded. It's Adobe Signs. You get all the power of that all in one.
And Christine just got a little ping. I heard it. Ping.
Yeah. She's got something to
like,
sign.
oh, I got something to sign. There we are.
Yeah. Super great too.
And they have to log in
Ping.
to some other app and do that, right? I mean, it's now a pain in the butt.
And how many times have you gotten like a client, like they're old school, right? Like they print out the document that you send, and then they just send you back the signatures, just the signature page, and you're like, I need the whole thing, right? So here's Chris signing. It's Christine client signing. On the phone.
Super easy. She filled it all out here.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then fills out
that's e-signatures.
Bank information, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're texting, I think we just have one more minute here. If you're texting, you don't have to worry about that. I was going to show you this earlier, but notify via text. So if they don't have the app on their phone and they're in the habit of texting you and you feel like you want your personal phone back, we'll get you your personal phone back. Okay. You're going to tell your clients, hey, don't text me anymore. Use the app. That's a better way to get me. And if they continue to text you or they continue to not use the app, just hit notify via text and we will literally send them a text message from us, not from your phone. And that'll get your Sunday brunches back. Okay.
Yeah. So let's launch the last poll while we're coming in for a landing here at the top of the hour. And just you want to get more information on Liscio, so it's to be smooth and delicious for you. Just answer that, and we'll pass on the information to them. Yeah. You really highlighted a lot of the things that that can consolidate a lot of things that that firms are using these days. The client portal, the eDocs, a way to get out of email, and get out
visibility.
of the barrier.
Visibility between team members, I think, is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the great part about it is the best is yet to come. We built a lot of stuff to bring everything together, and over the coming years, I'm going to show this because I know we have some people who use Liscio on today. While this coming in, I showed you how quickly you can send a document and you have to start typing. Well, we're bringing in templates, and this will be in, I think, next week, But if I want to send monthly financials, I can just come here and start typing my subject, monthly financials. And we're going to go ahead. You create your own templates because you're probably doing a lot of the same things over and over, right?
Yep.
And boom, there it is. And you can go ahead and modify this, right? But it's going to save how much time? We have task templates and message templates. And there's just so much great stuff we can bring to market now because we have all the pieces, all the major foundational elements in.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, just to be able to send messages much faster and be done, move on your day.
Yeah.
And we have a fun thing on the on our website. It's just at the bottom of every page. So it's liscio.me. So just think delight me, liscio.me. At the bottom of our homepage of every page, we have a quiz, and you can just take the quiz and see how your firm stacks up. And it's a kind of a fun thing to do. And at the end, you'll get some resources sent to you where you can think about, you identify the strengths and then also any hot spots. So that's kind of a fun thing. And I love this this quote that's just showing here. Clients are responding and submitting documents faster than we can keep up with. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good one.
Exactly. Well, thank you both for joining us today on the QB Power Hour.
Thank you for having us.
What you showed here is it is delightful. I mean, it's
definitely a game changer,
and it's not just delightful for one or the other; it's for both.
Yeah,
it just makes things a lot simpler. Consolidation of tools that you don't have to support from the firm side, but then an easy way to interact and engage with your clients.
Yeah.
Also from the client side. So again, thanks for joining us, Chris and Alison, and thank you everyone that joined us today on the weird
time change,
daylight savings time. I think we'll need to have you guys come back.
We would love to do that
when everybody's maybe out of tax season and knows what time it is.
We would love to do that anytime. Yeah.
All right, and we'll see you next time on another QB Power Hour.
Great. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed listening to the QB Power Hour podcast. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in our Facebook group. You can find those resources and much more at qbpowerhour.com.